Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Rainy Day Lily. Y'all can call me Rainy Lily, it don't matter. But today I have a fun video planned. Yeah, let's just get into it, honestly. There's nothing much to say. Um, Today we're going to be talking about the infamous, would you even call it infamous? But that doesn't matter. It's iconic, full of nostalgia type thing, The Next Step. I just want to remind everybody that all my information and references will be linked below. Note, I will be reading from a script. I don't have everything finalized or memorized, but most of these things are just going to be more of an opinion based conversation. So let me know what you guys think and let's get straight into the video. The Next Step, as summarized by Google, follows a group of dancers at the Next Step Dance Studio in which they deal with the challenges and drama inside and outside their ranks as they prepare for and compete in various competitions. The show starts as a mockumentary type style of film by Frank van Giegen, who I believe is the creator and director of The Next Step, in which the first pilot episode, for those who do not know what a pilot episode it is, it's essentially like a point of reference, kind of like a pitch or a concept art for a business or for an art project. That's basically what it is. These pilot episodes are actually not meant to be shared to the public, as it is illegal, I believe, in Canada. So the producers cannot showcase and share this episode, but there are some pictures and some videos of the cast members actually reacting to them. So that's all we get. So this pilot episode would be filmed and sent to the Family Channel, a Canadian streaming platform or channel centered primarily for children's television. For a point of reference for the outcome of the show in the beginning or fall of 2011. The episode did entail some of the original aspects from the show that we know and love today. A few of the characters on the show were there, like James, Riley, Stephanie, Emily, Michelle, Daniel, and Eldon. Other iconic characters we know, like Wes, Chloe, Giselle, and Kate, and I believe Tiffany, were portrayed by other actors as seen in this image displayed here, perhaps. I do want to note that Emily always was there. She just was also portrayed by a different actress, by Logan Fabro, who ends up playing Amanda, which is really neat. I like that they switched the characters and the actors around. I think that was beneficial. A few storylines and facts would also be different, as Kate, played by Brie Wesselenk, I'm butchering that. I'm so sorry. And her studio featured a different name, a different character, and subsequently a different actress. Um, James was all to be originally in a relationship with Michelle instead of Riley, which I don't know about y'all, but I would have loved to see that play out. Like, I would love to see that dynamic between them. I think that would have been interesting. Yeah, as mentioned before, Emily was played by Logan Fabro. So, yeah, you can find some of these pictures and grainy video clips, as I mentioned before, online, but I doubt that we as the public will ever get to see um, that video. Season 1. Season 1. The Next Step premiered on the 8th of March in 2013. Now, in South Africa, we would receive everything a few months or up to a year later. Um, so we were out here struggling, guys. Like, yo, it's the pits down here. The Next Step would actually only air here when I was about in grade 4, I believe in 2015 or so, on Disney Channel, and it would play at about 3 p.m. on Tuesdays and or Thursdays. So I was kind of late to the party from its original streaming. Season 1 introduces the audience to the different characters, their dynamics, and goals for their dance year. It starts off with Miss Kate telling the audience that the Next Step Dance Studio has never won a regionals, essentially laying down the foundation of what is to come for the season. To which Miss Kate and her head choreographer Chris. And a side note, can we just talk about how underused Chris was? Like, he barely got any recognition for what he did. And later on, I would definitely, for sure, say that he was one of like the only few adults in the studio who actively cared for his students. But we'll touch on that more on that later. We are introduced to what I would say are the main characters of this season: Emily and her proteges, Stephanie, Tiffany, Giselle, and her sister Riley. Their cliques are called the E Girls, to which they form a bond and collectively serve Emily. It's giving cult. It's giving me cult, guys. Mm-mm. Like, they have rules that they all abide by, and they even have a hand sign. Like, that's a cult, bro. That's a cult. Like, I believe one of their rules was essentially solely centered for the benefit of Emily. Like, what? 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 Are also introduced to some of the male characters of the season: James, Eldon, Daniel, and then West. Yes, this was ranked by a level of importance in the season. West deserved better. We begin with the auditions, to which some people had good energy, impressive moves. Like, is everybody gonna forget that West literally did a back handspring on his forearms? Come on. Come on. And then we had some pointing, some boringness, and overall average dancing, I would say. Um, but in no way am I making fun of these dance styles. I just thought some people weren't actively dancing, and I think some people outperform performed other people. Like, can we talk about how boring Emily's dance was? During this audition, we met the it girl, Michelle, who just moved from a different city of Madison and proved to be a threat to some of the dancers like Emily. Thus, find out who makes the team. All the members I mentioned had made the team, except Giselle, who is essentially booted off, and Michelle takes her place. Which is a pretty interesting choice, as I felt though Giselle performed primarily better than a few of the dancers who auditioned. However, I do believe the actress Jordan Clark had other commitments whilst filming, so essentially it's just a filming schedule that was the choice taken. But I did think that Giselle performed better than a lot of the people. From here on out, we still the buildup of drama is set from key determining factors: the battle of captaincy, insecurities obvious within Emily, Michelle posing as a threat to said insecurities of Emily, and Riley going against her sister's wishes and teaming up with Michelle and the other dancers to remove Emily as captain, Riley and James' relationship developing, the downfall of the E Girls, Emily and Stephanie leaving TNS to join the Emily rival team, Elite Dance Academy. Spoiler: Emily makes it and Stephanie does not. Emily and Alden's odd relationship. Don't come for me. Alden emotionally cheating on Emily with Michelle. And oh wait, the enemy team, Elite, are actually playing with Emily and plan to boot her off the team just before they go to regionals. Like, what? Emily essentially does come back. Like, girl, Daniel's injury obviously boots him off, and which opens the door for Giselle to rejoin A Troop. Chloe's financial difficulties, and then West. Yeah. All in all, the team essentially or eventually comes together, serving and posing for their inevitable win at regionals against Elite, cause plot armor. Um, Allowing the audience to celebrate with the team. And oh wait, did y'all forget? Alden literally breaks up with Emily before their dance. To be fair, Emily was kind of pushing him to tell her what was going on. She called it on to herself. I mean, if she really was suspicious of something, she should have brought it up a long time ago or even after. But nonetheless, the next step does win. leaving us with this cool ending shot as they celebrate their win at regionals and simultaneously leaving us on a bittersweet ending, obviously wanting us to want more. Like, I kid you not, I was greedy for another season. I was greedy for season two. But luckily, since we were late to the party here in South Africa, the next season was actually introduced like a week later. Season 2. Following the next steps win at regionals, we open up with the celebration of the trophy. We see new interactions with A, B, and J Troop, to which the energies and personalities suggest that everyone is in high spirits. I do think I would say at this point is when we start noticing that the actors who are playing these iconic characters are starting to um, become more comfortable with being on camera, and I think that resonated really well. Like, I think you guys should watch season 2, like, and compare season 1. Like, the way they were talking to the camera felt more natural, and also talking and communicating with each other felt more realistic as well. But as a kid you don't really notice that stuff, but as I got older I did realize that they got a little bit more comfortable. We are able to see a heartbroken Emily whilst Alden and Michelle are kikiing and ha-haing, playing footsies under the nose of the dancers. Until Emily straight up embarrasses them in front of the whole studio and explains that her and Alden are no longer together. Damn. Talk about girl boss. Like, I don't care, y'all. I don't care. I love Emily. Like, y'all can never make me hate her. Y'all can never make me hate her. We see interactions between James and Riley and James's ex-girlfriend Beth, who will be a recurring character in season 2, which we will speak about later. Um, Beth is a girl he used to date, and she cannot seem to get over this childhood crush type thing, which, girl, pick up the sticks, please. To which Riley does feel uncomfortable, which I do think I could see her point from that perspective, and to which I also think James does not do enough to place boundaries between him and Beth. Like, the man stood there while she was all up on him, and he may have tried, but in doing so, he could have perhaps kept a major distance from her, which I do think he did try to do that. But y'all will see the key events. This guy went straight up to her and started dating her. Like, it's so ridiculous. But this choice would come back to bite him in the arse later. Events to account for. Amanda from the Elite team, as she has been kicked off of the rival team, Elite, comes in to audition for a spot on A Troop. This shortly divides the team on whether they should audition new dancers, to which some are divided in terms to categories, I guess. One half thinks that auditioning would ultimately break the team apart, and that new dancers wouldn't make sense, especially if they just want regionals. I guess it was a thing of familyhood, I guess. Like, if you want regionals, why would you want to switch it up? And yeah, other half thought it was a good idea, which I thought it was a good idea when I was watching. Other half thought it was a good idea as it would help them evolve and grow as dancers, which I think is the most plausible answer. I feel like if you have a fixed mindset, like, mm, I don't know. If you have a fixed mindset, I feel as though you're kind of holding yourself back to opportunities. I do think it was a good idea that they did the audition. Let me know what y'all thought. I thought the audition idea was a really good idea. Ultimately, due to a vote, it is decided upon and they head on to the auditions. These auditions included people from various walks of life, various people from different dance companies across the country, I believe. But we do get to see a lot of new faces, which was so fun to watch when I was younger. Following this, auditioned, Tiffany and Stephanie unfortunately do not make it to A Troop, to which Tiffany, I guess she just didn't perform as well as many of the other dancers. I thought there were so many better dancers that should have made A Troop. that auditioned, and Stephanie did not make it as she decided to go to an acting class when she knew she had auditions. Come on. But yeah, we are introduced to new characters and members such as Talia, Hunter, Phoebe to replace Chris, and Amanda. It is revealed that Hunter had a relationship with Michelle back in their previous studio together, which poses a threat to Eldon, in which we have the battle of Dingleberry and Nitwit for Michelle as though she was an object. I understand that they are teenagers, but this should not be something that we're showing our kids. Like, come on, like what? Like, Alden, pick up the sticks. You're dating the Michelle, and you allow a simple loss at a dance battle to break you guys apart. Like, to me, he ain't worth it. I don't know what the girl saw in Eldon. We later find out that Amanda never had the best intentions with A Troop and has been working as a double agent. Emily finds out, and her and her sister Riley devise a plan to expose her, to which it backfires and only lets the team despise her once again until Amanda is exposed. Emily and Hunter happen, although they break up as part of Emily's plan and Amanda's scheming. James cheats on Riley with Beth. Dating Beth kissed him, and he didn't kiss Beth. Guilty. Daniel leaves the studio after being completely wasted in A Troop following Miss Kate's dismissal of his dance skills over Eldon's. Riley is heartbroken and James ventures for new love, ultimately affecting their duet until James head onto a quest to prove his love to Riley and they become happy, you could say. Let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think a quest would like make you get back with your partner after they cheated on you? I think not. A brief Emily and West romance is sparked. West gets more screen time, luckily, in this season, which I am thankful for. Yeah, this season focused heavily on incorporating every dance style, age, and dancers within the season. We got to see a lot of J Troop and B Troop's extended live lines, heavily J Troop, which we are essentially introduced to what would be the key J Troopers, Rochelle and Noah. Ultimately, we hit to nationals being right around the corner, to which many dances are performed of male and female solos, duets, small groups, semifinals routine, and the finals routine. Emily does suffer an injury, and Elite does try to get Michelle disqualified by sabotaging her. Too bad though, because she kills it in her performance. Fierce. The one. Eldon and Daniel's rivalry is reignited on the stage, to which Eldon succeeds with a powerful dance, and Amanda actually feels guilt for her betrayal, to which she offers to dance in Emily's place, against Elite's wishes. They win, West kisses Emily, and finally, after their win, it is revealed that Lucien has bought the building that in which TNS resides and offers an ultimatum in which both Elite and TNS merge for internationals. Season 3. Now, one of my favorite seasons of TNS is season 3. Like, y'all don't understand how good the season was, from storyline, realistic dynamics of situations, and of course, the tension between other competitors. Now, following the win after Nationals, the audience is brought back to the iconic opening dance of the season, to the song Homecoming. This is essentially displayed throughout all the seasons to come, where the dancers kind of remind the audience of situations and circumstances that happened within the past and tell us what's happening in the present. We receive the update of Emily's near injury and are reminded of the ultimatum brought about by Lucien of Elite, to which they agreed to merge through the basis of dance battles like auditions between both studios, in which we garner new characters such as Noah from J Troop, Michelle counting as an elite dancer as she wasn't physically able to audition, Chloe, Giselle, Wist, Riley, Eldon, Amanda, Chantel, and Max. Emily was not cleared to dance, hence she was not a part of this season nor a part of A Troop. Key storylines include Riley's relationship with James being tested by exchange dancer Ella from Great Britain, Giselle's establishment of a leader, the introduction of new dancers who shake up the dynamics, Talia and Alden's relationship, in which a setup for dating is set, and several miscellaneous storylines. We learn that West and Emily will not be together, Chloe becomes schizophrenic, Stephanie rejoins the team, and Michelle is an emotional wreck. Relationships are tested, especially between James and Riley, and rivalries emerge, particularly with other dance studios. As the team faces setbacks and triumphs, they learn the importance of teamwork, resilience, and supporting one another. This season ultimately focuses on growth both as dancers and individuals, leading to a dramatic and emotional finale at internationals in Miami, to which Riley and James have to be the tiebreaker, and they perform such a beautiful to wit. Like I felt like it was the perfect ending for the beginning of their relationship and the perfect ending for the next step. But unfortunately, it continues. Character analysis. Emily. Emily proves to be a confident, self assured character who exhibits the makings of a strong leader in the future. Earlier on, we immediately assumed that she was the classic mean girl perpetuating mean spirited stereotypes exhibited in modern day media. She's a bully who is clearly insecure about her position as a leader, as a dancer, and as a person. This is evident in her inability to receive criticism, her displays of displeasure of Michelle and anyone who goes against her wishes, and ultimately perpetuating these insecurities onto her friends, sisters, and teammates. This facade, however, is broken as a result of her being deposed of dance captaincy due to the ultimate betrayal and I guess protestant um, protests and better dances from the team. This is where a shift is evident following a resurgence of humility in Emily and her journey. Um, Here, Emily becomes more compassionate and ambitious. I would also say it makes her more protecting of her team for regionals and later for nationals. We see this in the way she talks to Amanda. We see this in the way she decides to go try to expose Amanda for her lies of trying to take down the next step. Her relationship with individuals appears to grow stronger, although indications of her being selfish, her intentions or selfish intentions are a bit more obvious. However, she is able to grow and ultimately see people through a different light, which is why, and I stress this, which is why West was the best and perfect person for her. I think, you know, the opposites attract, and I thought that their storyline was just so. I felt like they could have done so much more with that, but obviously they did not for season 3. That moves on to West. West could be described as perhaps the anecdotal character who was both weird and charismatic. He would have the most odd one liners, metaphors, or idioms to describe a scenario or relations to others. And I thought that was like so funny of him. Like he was always in a jolly mood and jolly spirits, which it never fell flat. On top of that, he was an incredible dancer who started off from B Troop and who never truly got his cake. He would have um some storylines, but of course he was able to lead the group dance in at internationals, and he did have that one storyline with Seeds. However, we only ever saw him offering a supportive hand or being a catalyst for another main character's storyline. For example, Emily, James, and Eldon. Um, to which he did have a storyline of him. To be fair, he was offered a storyline pertaining to his ability to do technique or ballet technique, which was great and enjoyable, but it ultimately led to encouraging and catapulting Chloe to reach her full potential as a ballerina, which there's nothing wrong with him being a the catalyst to people's storylines. I just wish we would have seen something a little bit different from West for the sole benefit of him, which I do think they did for season 4, which we'll touch on season 4 in the next video. It would have been interesting what West's character would have been like had he had been given greater storylines. Like, what about a storyline that, answered why West was always in good spirits? What about family dynamics, etc.? Real life issues that teenagers at the time would have gone through. But seeing as this was on a family channel, I do think that that storyline would have been less likely to be been seen. But comparing the next step now, to then, I think it would have been possible. But you have to grow, and you have to go with what is happening within the decades, which I do think the next step is trying to include those types of storylines in their stories in newer seasons. Riley. Riley, one of the main central characters of the next step, she proves to be parallel to Emily in terms of her ambition, her character, and her mannerisms, which I think is actually appropriate considering that they are siblings. Like usually, especially if you're a younger sister, I'm not. I'm the oldest, but I do see my younger sister or my younger siblings kind of paralleling me or mirroring me in what I do or what I say, how I carry myself. Um, However, Riley is advertently supportive with her decision making. We take note that she tends to be a bit too close minded and a bit too uptight. This is evident through the way she communicates with James, the way she kind of tells him to, um, I don't even know what the word would be. She kind of tells James to kind of subdue himself in some search situations and to take things a little bit more seriously, which I don't think is fair or nor right. But we do see that she is a bit uptight. Later in season 3, however, we do see that she becomes a little bit um, lighthearted and she tends to have a bit more fun with the introduction of Ella. Um, and this uptightness perhaps indicates her insecurities and conditionings of being a good enough leader and a dancer, which I think is really realistic and interesting because I do think a lot of dancers, when I used to dance, I do think a lot of them were um, very, very insecure about their abilities and capabilities to perform well and to do well, and to dance well in front of people. Riley's storylines usually pertain to her relationships with James, which may have been interesting and an intriguing story to navigate. However, both Riley and James are individuals within their own right. I think season 2 and 3 was where the relationship did become toxic, and I wish that the story writers perhaps made them split up amicably, to which Riley could have explored her insecurities within a deeper scale. I think a question of identity and worth would have been interesting, but of course it may have been too intense for a kids show. However, I do think it would have been interesting to see her navigate anxiety, perhaps. Like, she's always stressed all the time, and perhaps even self doubt. I think it would have been very interesting, and I think we could have seen that with James as well. But I know this would probably trigger some Jiley fans. Please don't come for me. This is just my opinion. But ultimately, I do think that they ruined Jiley following season 3. And perhaps even season 2. And I think in season 4, it just gets even worse. But they are teenagers, but I thought that I just didn't like it. I think we should display healthy teenage relationships instead of toxic ones. By toxic, I don't mean necessarily like your toxic abuse, cheating, stuff like that. But I would say that James and Riley's relationship was your standard unhealthy teenage relationship, which is realistic in itself. I thought that Riley subduing James and his charismatic and outgoing personality was not fair. I think James not appreciating Riley being more outgoing with Ella was odd. I don't think it's fair to expect something out of your partner based on your personality or whatnot, or when you once knew them. I think it's in a relationship, it's important to grow, and it's important to allow your partner to grow. And if they feel like they want to be a little bit more a bit funny in serious situations, allow them to be that. But I don't think it's fair to subdue and hold back a person from their own personal growth. Let me know if you guys would like a whole James and Riley episode. I think it would be very interesting to unpack the relationship, and hopefully we can get more clarification. But let me know what you guys think. James. James was that of a charismatic person. You'd say he had a magnetic personality. You know, he draws others to him. He was most definitely the guy who would say, "Where's my hug at?" in high school. He was very confident. He possesses a strong sense of, uh, self assurance, both in his dance abilities and his social interactions that he shares with people. And I loved seeing his dynamics and his friendship with Alden West and later on I'd say Hunter, but it was so fun to watch them together. I enjoyed watching the boys' friendship more than I enjoyed watching the e-girls play out. He's very romantic as proven as he cheats. Yes. He does a lot for Riley though. He does a lot to redeem himself as a character, which I really want to explore his character in season 4 cuz his character development is so essential to his character. We see him being this goofy person, but late in season 3, we see a little bit of jealousy from him, but season 4, we see a lot of maturity from him. And I thought that was just interesting to see the switch up in character development and character personalities between him and Riley. Throughout the series, James grapples with his role within a troop, balancing his desire to support Riley as a leader while finding his own place in the group. As you'll see in season 3, he actually was balancing being in the band and doing dancing, to which he chooses the band, which I thought was actually a very good storyline, and I thought it was realistic because people have other passions than dancing, and I like that storyline. Michelle. Evolving relationships. Michelle's interactions with others characters, particularly Riley and Emily, did highlight her growth. Her saying we should be co-captains to Emily. I thought that was so, humble of her, and I thought it displayed a lot of her humanity within her. She throughout the series goes through self-discovery, particularly in season 3 after her parents are divorcing. I've never been a child of divorce, so maybe you guys who have can testify to this. She undergoes a significant personal growth. She has to balance the team, which she struggles in doing so because her parents are splitting apart, and she has to find them here. And I think it could be a challenge of, um, you know, you don't want to disappoint your parents, and you don't want to seem as though you're taking sides. So I thought it was really interesting to see her navigating that, and I thought she deserved a bit more grace. I understood where everyone was coming from when they were upset with her, not having anything handled, her not having anything under control. She would show up late to practice. um I didn't like that they would, Stephanie particularly was like, why is she crying, or etc. um but I think she deserved a bit more grace, and I would have loved to see her become a better character in season 3, but I thought it was really realistic. Yeah, I don't have much to say about Michelle. She's an icon. I love Michelle. Eldon. Eldon is a creative person. He has a vivid imagination and passion for choreography. He often thinks outside the box, bringing innovative ideas to the team's routines, which I thought was nice. He's a very talented dancer. He's he's stupid, that's for sure. Um, I think he's a dumb. I think he's a dimwit. Like I said before, He does not make the best choices. He does not think properly, but his dancing solves that for him. And can we talk about his weird obsession with Emily? Like, ugh, it's kind of weird. But um, they were teenagers. He was a teenager, and I would definitely say that he's matured and grown. And I for sure love Talia and Alden. I love Talden. I don't care if you guys don't. I do, and I just found out. Spoiler alert that they ruined Talia and Alden in the newest season of the next step. So yeah, thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Daniel. Daniel, I'd say, is a character who gets like a redemption arc. Um, he's very snobbish. He's very cocky, overly confident, but he has something to prove that he's an awesome and fantastic dancer. And if you are a good dancer like him, why would you not be bragging? Why would you not be confident and snobby? He was very snobby, but um he was also a bit overzealous in his abilities to um participate and dance and prove himself. He went above and beyond and did the helicopter move in season one when he didn't get the approval from Chris. And but ultimately Daniel does prove himself in the end of season three, which we do see him come back in season four, just as a guest choreographer though. Amanda. Amanda's like one of my favorite characters. I would say she also has a redemption arc, kind of like paralleling Daniel. She's not overzealous, but I think she knows what she's doing. If you're confident in what you do, then you're going to be confident in how you carry yourself. And that's the embodiment of Amanda. Chloe. Chloe's a sweet, lovable character who has, a relatable scenario. Not a lot of people can afford to dance. She's a sweetheart. She has incredible ballet technique, which enjoyed watching her. She does have self doubt and she does think she's undeserving, till she meets Margie, a child, to give her the best life advice there is, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's something wrong with the fact that Margie disappeared into dust. Like, what? No, honey, you're schizophrenic. Like, come on. Um, I just want to know, when I say schizophrenic, I'm not being offensive. I'm just joking. Um, Giselle, I would just simply say, is a tale as old as time. You start off as the underdog, you don't make it, and then you become the captain, leading your team to victory in internationals. Love it. Tiffany, she's kind of just there. She's forgettable. There's not much to say about Tiffany. I do think y'all are being a bit dramatic when you say she can't dance and she's not the best dancer. She's not the best, but I think she can dance. I like her dancing style. Stephanie is a diva. However, she becomes a prevalent character in season three, but I do think her skills do lack a bit. I think she's kind of those characters that can be a bit too yeah, diva-ish. I do think she's the epitome of a diva. Miss Kate, the owner of the next step, what are you doing and why do you still own that company? She started off as such a good adult, a good leader in her own right. I think the success kind of just got to her head a bit. I would like to see a something where we touch upon her and her relationship with Lucien. Like, why do they hate each other so much? Like, can we get an enemies to lovers storyline? Like, or a lovers to enemies? I would love to see that. Like, why is the next step still making seasons? They should just invest in that one. I think it would be so cute. And it's like a dance studio set in the 80s. Like, oh, it would be such an interesting investment. I think that would be such a cool storyline. But Miss Kate was lacking as an adult. She was barely there. I think there's a whole compilation of Miss Kate being a terrible dance teacher studio owner, which I think you guys should check it out. And I think like you'll see the examples for yourself. Like, it's insane. Now we have Chris. Chris is, like I said before, he's more of the responsible leader. He takes on the role of being a mentor to the kids, which I really admire. We have Phoebe, which I really love. Phoebe, I like Phoebe. She's more of the calmer version of Miss Kate and Chris, like as though they had a child. That would be Phoebe. Talia, I really enjoyed Talia's character. I think she deserved more than just the storyline with Alden. She was such a good dancer, and I really wish we saw more of her in a storyline. I really would have loved to see her be more than just the girl who can speak a bunch of languages and or not even speak a bunch of languages, who learned how to say hello, and which is very impressive. But I wish we had something more than her relationship with Alden. Like, this is the thing. I hated when these characters are used to catapult other characters' storylines. I hate it. Which is the point of a side character, but this is a mockumentary TV show. It should center around all the kids, regardless. Have Hunter Dingleberry. Um, I liked his relationship with Emily. That's all I can say. He was kind of boring. That's it. I don't really have much to say about Hunter. Yeah. I want to give the creators and directors behind the next step some credit for their filming styles and the dances that we saw, which was so unique and so interesting to observe. We had the mockumentary style from season one, which kind of died down through season two to season three. And, you have to move with time, and, the dances improved. And I really enjoyed watching these characters. They were flawed and imperfect characters, which is so realistic. And we have to remember that they were teenagers. And, I really appreciated watching this show when I was younger. It never was necessarily helped with how my life would be like as a teenager, but it definitely gave light to certain situations that were realistic. People would relate to Chloe's storyline. Most people couldn't afford dogs. And I really appreciate it. And I really love the next step. And, you know, you're allowed to love something and still critique it at the same time. Okay, guys, so let me know what you guys thought about this video. Do you agree with my character analysis? And if you would like to add more to these characters, I think you should. I think most of them were a bit shorter just because they didn't really add, or they didn't have much of a storyline on the next step, so we couldn't really get a sense of their personalities and whatnots. But let me know what you guys thought. Did you like season one, two, three? What's your favorite season? Let me know. As said in earlier of the video, I will link all the references in the description box, which I think you would want to check out. Okay. But let me know what you guys think. Should I make a part two? Part two, I wanted to focus on season four, five, six, but I'm not gonna make that if you don't want it. But I think it would be interesting to hear about season four. And I actually enjoy rewatching all these episodes back. It's really fun. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys like the style? Do you guys like the mic? Let me know. And you guys can actually shop all these. You can shop this if you'd want. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a lovely day. It's rainy day, Lily. Bye, guys. Love ya.